Assalamu alaikum, everyone. ISCJ and the NBIC community. You are at our opening live stream here for the introduction to the Maun Federal Credit Union. And we're very excited. We have special board members here. We have Dr. Irfan, the president of our Maun Federal Credit Union, and the vice president, Dr. Nadeem Beg. And we're going to use the next hour plus, inshallah, to go over and explain the Federal Credit Union, answer any questions that you might have. Please use the YouTube chat. And inshallah, will be a productive session, and we'll get to learn from each other. And we will answer questions. Feel free to post your questions in the YouTube chat, inshallah. With that being said, I do want to now introduce Dr. Nadeem Beg. Many of you from Central Jersey already know Nadeem Beg from NBIC, and we see him in all the massages, alhamdulillah, but he is officially the president of NBIC, and he is also the vice president of our newly formed nonprofit credit union, which we're calling the Maun Federal Credit Union. Dr. Nadeem, please welcome the community.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Arif. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Members of ISCJ and NBIC community, we are so grateful that you're allowing us to come to your home tonight, streaming through this web portal. Before I continue and with the project introductions, let me first also extend a very strong Jazakallah khair to Brother Arif for not only preparing for this tonight's session, but for all the support he has given to this project from the moment he heard about it several years ago. We would not be at this position, this phase, without Brother Arif, who is, I might be the president of BIC, but he's the godfather of the whole Central Jersey community, alhamdulillah. So without further ado, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce my dear friend, Dr. Irfan Galeria. Dr. Irfan and I go way back to the days in our times of learning the practice of medicine and the science of medicine at Jefferson Medical College in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And during that time, I distinctly remember that while, I was toiling away in my training, and while Irfan was busily studying for his for medicine classes, he found time during that to get an MBA. And alhamdulillah, he always had a tremendous mind, interest in finance and business, and that carries through in this passion of his to bring about more Islamic style, ethically, socially responsible financing to the Muslim and broader communities. And this has been a project of his near and dear to him for a very, very long time, and it really took fruition several years ago when he and I were commiserating over a Penn State University football loss to University of Michigan. That's our alma mater too, by the way, in college. And during that time, he expressed his interest and desire. And I too also mentioned that I was very interested in this project to bring to our communities. So from there, we started the conversations and got the ball rolling. We got both initially at first NBIC's support, and then through Brother Arif, we endeared the support of the ISCJ board and community. So with that, it's really a project that Dr. Irfan Galeria, I think, it knows best, and I will give it to him to introduce and educate our communities the value, importance, and benefits of this federal credit union, the very first Muslim chartered federal credit union in the United States of America. Dr. Irfan, it's all yours now.
Great. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Thank you, Nadeem and Ar, for your kind words. And thank you for all of you for taking your time out from your busy schedules to be here with us today. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here today. Today's presentation marks the culmination of 7 years of hard work. I want to start by asking everyone here a simple question. When you deposit your money into a bank, have you ever thought about what happens to it? Where is it really going? Who is it really helping? How is it being used? I really want you to think about these questions sincerely, because understanding the answers to these questions will help you understand the meaning and purpose of the Maun Federal Credit Union. The institutions that you currently bank with, the institutions that you take your money to, are using your money for their personal and corporate gains. They invest your money in interest-bearing products to make money for themselves. They use your money to pay for their exorbitant CEO salaries, and they use your money to give loans to whomever they like, with the sole criteria of how they can get the highest return and make the most amount of profit. The current banking model exploits the depositor and those in need, that is, those seeking loans. Islamically, I believe this was never meant to happen. We are truly living in a sea of riba. There is a reason why our religion, a religion that advocates mercy, tolerance, support, would never condone such a formula. I want to share a quick story with you. About 20 years ago, I had to take out my first loan. My wife and I were doctors in training. We were expecting our first child. MashaAllah, that first child is going to be heading off to college in 2 weeks, inshallah. And we were trying to buy our first home. I remember at that time, I was disappointed with my options. The quote, Islamic financing options that were around were limited in number. They seemed like a typical loan, just hidden in catchphrases and semantics. Back then, I settled for one of those Islamic loans because, as I was consistently told, it's the best we have, or it's the closest option that we have to Islamic financing. But in my heart, I continue to feel uncomfortable with this decision. I'd like you all to think about your own loan experiences and ask yourselves, what options did you have? Whether you were trying to get an education, buy a car, or a home. Did it make you uneasy in your heart, as it did mine, when you had to take that loan, frankly knowing that you really had no other options? The frustration that I felt back then continued to burn inside me. Not much has changed in terms of financing options in the past 20 years, to be honest, until now. And that desire to see a more equitable alternative helped spawn the Maun Federal Credit Union as you will see it today. The premise behind this credit union is very simple. And if there's nothing else that you take away from today's presentation, just understand this. The Maun Federal Credit Union is an institution that is designed to empower our own community. The money that you put in as a deposit will be used to provide interest-free loans to other members of our own community who are in need. What I'm hoping to do today is accomplish two things. The first is I want to educate everyone here about the Maun Federal Credit Union so you're all aware of its services and what it represents. There has been an incredible amount of effort to bring this credit union to life. The formal government approval process took almost 4.5 years itself. We collected almost $500,000 from anonymous donors to provide the foundation to build this institution. There are about a dozen volunteers from the ISCJ and NBIC's communities who've been and continue to work tirelessly to make this a reality. And second, I hope that today we can convince all of you here to have the trust and confidence in the Maun Federal Credit Union so that you will use it for your banking needs and services. After all, this is a community effort. And this credit union and its mission will not succeed if we don't have the support from members like yourself. By simply using the credit union, you will be supporting and enabling a larger movement, and you'll be creating opportunities for yourself and hope for others that didn't exist before. So before I get into the particulars and describing the credit union to you, I want to first tell you what it is not. Although it is a not-for-profit entity, the Maun Federal Credit Union is not a charity. When you deposit your money into the credit union, you will be doing so just like you would in any other banking institution. That money can be withdrawn in full at your discretion. That money will be federally insured and guaranteed, just like it would be in any other bank. And this institution, the credit union we're about to tell you about, is highly regulated by the government. As a matter of fact, we have to report to it on a monthly basis. So I'd like to spend the next 15 to 20 minutes along with Nadeem to give you some more details about the Federal Credit Union and to tell you a little bit more about what it is and how it operates. So to begin, a credit union's original purpose is to set up an organization that pools the money and resources of the members of its community and then uses that money and those resources to distribute to other members of its community in its need. And that's exactly what we wanted to set up. And that's why we pursue the credit union model. Unlike a bank, the credit union is a not-for-profit institution. The credit union is a cooperative financial institution that's chartered by the federal government. And another key distinction between a bank and a credit union is that a bank will have owners, shareholders, investors. A credit union doesn't. The owners of the credit union are you, people like yourselves who have a deposit and use the credit union services. Each person who has an account has one vote, and that vote can be used to elect who they want to be on the board of directors and what direction they want the credit union to move in. Maun is an Arabic word meaning small kindness. It comes from one of the last chapters of surahs in the Quran. And we hope that with every person that we can help, every loan that we can offer, that we'll be able to we'll provide one small act of kindness that we can do to give back to this community. The mission of Maun Federal Credit Union is twofold. The first is to provide ethical and fair banking practices. And we hope to incorporate the faith-based principles to bring this mission to light. And we hope that we will to use faith-based principles in every aspect of the banking transactions and every component of the banking process. And the second primary mission is to provide accessible financing. We're not just happy with providing interest-free loans to those in need. We want to reduce the cost of borrowing for all. We want to help break the cycle of poverty and debt that unfortunately many people find themselves in. We also want to provide microloans and opportunities to individuals who may not normally have those opportunities. For example, individuals with poor credit or with low amounts of income, they may not be able to obtain loans. The fees may be too high for them, or they may be forced to go to payday lending or pay exorbitant amounts of interest. And so we hope to provide them again with an opportunity for financing. One of the first questions that I'm asked, or anyone on the board is asked, which is a fair question, is how is this financially sustainable? This is a not-for-profit institution that doesn't charge or accept interest. So how do you thrive? And the answer is fairly simple. It's a fee-based model. And we collect fees from three primary sources. The first is the account maintenance fee. Anyone who opens an account or deposits money will be required to pay a small monthly fee to use the credit union services. Again, these fees are not used to pay the CEOs or other board members' salaries. The fees are used to help promote the institution so they can thrive and provide these services to the community. The more people that use the credit union, the more people that open accounts will generate more revenue, and we hope we will then be able to decrease the amount of fees that we're charging to everyone. Second, we're going to be charging a small origination fee for those individuals who are taking out loans. And third, we'll collect revenue from other banking fees and charges that you typically see at any other bank. So how does this work? In order to open an account, you have to be a member of the Islamic Society of Central Jersey or the New Brunswick Islamic Center. Or you have to have a family member who is a member of the ISCJ or NBIC. And one important thing that I want to clarify that this credit union is an independent entity. It's not owned by ISCJ. It's not owned by NBIC. ISCJ and NBIC serve as sponsors of this credit union. And by definition, in order to participate in the services that the credit union offers, you have to be a member, or a family member has to be a member of one of these two institutions. Once you open that account, the current model sets a fee at $5 a month. And again, These fees are set to help cover the expenses of the institution. And we hope that these fees will be able to abate as more people sign on and more people start using its services. And again, the money that's being deposited is not a donation. This is your money. It can be withdrawn at any time, and that the money is insured. Each individual is insured up to about $250,000 by the federal government, just like your account would be insured in any other bank. We hope to provide, inshallah, ultimately basic banking services that are provided by all the other banks and institutions and other services that you're currently enjoying at your local bank. At start, however, our services that we're offering are going to be a little limited. We'll have an online platform. You'll be able to access your account. You'll be able to perform transactions and communicate with the bank, so you don't necessarily have to go and visit a physical branch location. And we hope, as I said, in the future to start adding additional services. Initially, we're restricted primarily because we're a new entity, we're restricted in some of the services that we can offer. So I want you to really approach opening this account as a, quote, savings account. It's not an interest-bearing account, but it's a non-checking account. And we hope in the future that we'll be able to add a lot of the services that you've come to experience and enjoy at any other bank. For example, we hope to add full service checking accounts. We hope to open ATMs, provide debit cards, mobile wallets, and online bill pay. On the back end of things, we're going to be offering loans. So once an individual such as yourself deposit money into the account, we will then use that money to provide loans to those in need in our own ISCJ and NBIC communities. Inshallah, we're going to start offering these loans on January 1st, 2022. And these loans, again, are going to be fee-based. And the fees for these loans, they are not based on an interest rate. They are not pegged to any particular benchmark. It will be right now we're planning to have a one-time small origination fee. And again, that fee is used to help cover the costs and expenses of the institution. The loans that we're going to be offering, we've taken several thorough measures that we've adopted to ensure that we're protecting the depositor's money and that we're essentially protecting the assets of the Federal Credit Union. We've adopted a risk-based lending program, and we're going to require and ask for the majority of people who take loans to provide a collateral or co-signers. And we're doing this with the hopes, again, to protect the depositor's money and to help protect the assets of the Federal Credit Union. We're also going to be adopting a conservative lending approach. And what I mean by that is the amount of money that we're going to loan out for the deposits that we have in our credit union will be relatively low. The national average is roughly 80%. We will be loaning out roughly 60 to 70% of our money. That's to decrease our risk exposure and also maintain our liquidity. Initially, like to some of the services, the types of loans we're going to be offering are going to be more limited. The loans will focus on 3 areas. The first is to help people get out of existing debt. The second is to provide support and loans so people can pursue an education. And the third is for auto loans. These loans will be for less than 7 years duration, and they'll be up to $37,000. Again, we're doing this to lower the risk exposure initially, and we're hoping by decreasing the number of years and decreasing the amount of money that we loan out initially will give us an opportunity to serve more people in our community. We hope, inshallah, in the near future, we'll be able to expand our services to include such loans for home mortgages, for example, and we hope that we'll be able to have loans for longer than 7 years and for greater than $37,000. I think what's important for everyone to know here that this model that we're presenting to you today and that we're talking about today is a unique model. Nothing like this exists in North America. And this model was really developed after several years and dozens of conversations with Islamic finance scholars and industry experts and banking experts here in the United States and across the world. As a matter of fact, we've had consultants such as the former head lawyer of the National Credit Union Association and the former head lawyer of the Federal Credit Union Trade Association. These individuals helped guide and helped shape our credit union as you see it today. We have two advisors, Islamic scholars who are advisors to our credit union. The first is Sheikh Dalal De Lorenzo. Some of you may have heard of him. He is a well-respected international Islamic finance scholar. He's been involved with Islamic banking for dozens of years for all across banks in Asia, the Middle East, and the United States. And he serves on dozens of Sharia compliant boards. And I'm happy to say that he's endorsed our model and he supports our efforts. As a matter of fact, the last conversation that I had with Sheikh De Lorenzo, he told me that he felt this was the purest form of Islamic financing that he has ever seen in all his experience. So alhamdulillah, I'm very proud of that. And I'm proud to have his support and have him on our team. And the second advisor is Brother Mudassir Siddiqui. You may be more familiar with his brother Muzammil Siddiqui. Brother Mudassir Siddiqui has the same training as his brother Muzammil Siddiqui. And Mudassir Siddiqui is a scholar in Islamic finance, both in the Middle East and the United States. And he's endorsed this model as well. So very appreciative of their support. You know, I'd like to now introduce Nadeem, and he'll continue the conversation and he'll tell you a little bit more about our leadership team, who's behind the hood, so to speak, helping guide this entity, this institution. He'll relay some of the benefits that we believe this credit union will bring to the community and to the individuals. He'll also talk about some initial first steps about how you can get involved into the credit union. And then after that, we'd like to open this up for a discussion and a conversation. We'll be happy to answer your questions moving forward. So Nadeem, please. Thank you.
Jazakallah khair, Irfan. Thank you so much for the really wonderful talk and discussion about the credit union and its benefits to the community. From here on out, I'll be discussing some of the parts of the leadership of the organization and also specifically how it can benefit both our communities at ISCJ and NBIC. Obviously, the first question you may ask is, why are two doctors involved in heading the organization? I ask that question myself nearly every single time I'm at these meetings. Alhamdulillah, it's really, I think, nothing more than dedication and passion, at least from my end. I think Dr. Irfan, I think, he certainly can attest to his level of expertise and experience, not just in financing, but particularly also in how much time he's delved into learning and working in this area of the banking and particularly the credit union. But obviously, we recognize that we still need other people from the community who really have expertise and experience and skill sets that are lacking from our end. So we sought out, and we went around the community and vetted people and found people who have experience in banking, people who have experience in accounting and auditing, particularly in areas. We also recognize that when a digital era, and a lot of these banking services we're going to offer to the credit union are going to be online. So we need people with expertise in IT and helping to mold that and particularly provide security around our financing tools and instruments in the digital space. We wanted to make sure that we also got lawyers involved. I mean, anytime you build institutions like this, we need solid lawyers. So we sought out people in this area. Alhamdulillah, we did build a strong team, over the years. But as we grow, we certainly expect to add more people, and particularly focusing on people, to help, improve our range and scope in the area. Also very important to emphasize to you all is that this project, this model, and our entire at least our main leadership team, particularly the board members, will all vetted and approved by the federal government. They have very strict criteria for who they permit to be on the boards of such organizations, because they recognize, as we do, that this is an amana at the end of the day. This is a trust that you are handing to us, to things that are some of your most prized assets, your money. So we feel a deep obligation and sense of importance to make sure that we take good care of your money. And the federal government, of course, feels it very much the same way. And of course, as Irfan alluded to earlier, this board that we created is just the initial starting board. Once we, alhamdulillah, create, build out the membership from the community and having people like you as members of the credit union, in time, you will then be electing the board members of the credit union. These are not people that are on the like lifelong members of the board, by no means. And no board position is chosen for any masjid. Neither NBIC nor ISCJ have any like guarantees of having a board member on the community on the board of the credit union. It's chosen by the members, by you all, inshallah, in due time. And of course, this is largely a volunteer-based organization. No one, neither Irfan, Arif, myself, or anyone else on the board or our staff members are taking 1 cent from this project. This is a completely non-for-profit enterprise. And alhamdulillah, the board members are sacrificing their time, energy, and effort to bring this fruition to the community. Of course, we'll be having salaried employees. I mean, this is a project that will require more time invested that we can dedicate to. So we're actively searching and looking for a coordinator or director of the day-to-day operations. So we're hopefully going to be signing on someone soon, inshallah. These are the board of directors you can see right now. Myself, Irfan Galeria, Arif Patel, Asan Salim, and Asan Janjua. The supervisory committee that's really in charge of overseeing and making sure that the money, that your money is held safe and securely and being managed appropriately, are headed by Muhammad Sayani, an experienced accountant in the community, Muhammad Shaliwala, a lawyer, and Awais Databoy, who is a business financing expert actually from the West Coast. He's been kind of dedicate his time and support to this project. And the executive team, we have Sister Gulnaz Batiwala, Brother Shamail Malik, and Tariq Hijaz, who is may not be familiar to the community, but he is local in central Jersey, more along the Flemington area. He brings a years and decades of banking experience, particularly in the Islamic area. He actually has helped set up Islamic compliant departments at various banks across the world, particularly Middle East. So, alhamdulillah, as you can see, we do have people with experience and skills in banking and finance and accounting. Now, focusing upon really what I think what's important and the value of this project to our communities. As Dr. Irfan had alluded to earlier, this is a tool that we currently do not have, in the sense that this is going to provide and empower our Muslim communities financially in a means that we have not been able to do before. Right now, as Irfan has said it before, our money is sitting in our bank accounts and it's not being used to benefit our communities. It's being used to benefit a whole host of other people. Yet we still need money, for whether it's loans to purchase cars, to finance school, higher education, purchase houses. We have to depend upon the Riba-based model. So what we're trying to do is institute a financial tool in this measure to break us out of the cycle of riba, to at least start on that path that we've all heralded to and listening to our Islamic scholars and our teachers and our leaders over the decades, but finding ways to break the cycle of riba. This is our chance. This is our opportunity to do this. This is our opportunity, particularly to help people break their cycle of from their own personal debt, whether it's credit card debt, auto debt, student debt, whatever you name it. We can finally now pool our money together, and help each other. And we don't have to go get donations. I know right now there actually are several other beautiful projects throughout America where they actually are providing interest-free student loans or every other loans. But those are all charities. They're all dependent upon donations to fund those enterprises. This is different in the sense that we are not trying to rely upon people's donations in the long run to service this project. This goal is to be self-sustaining in the long run. Really, in the short run, we're not asking for more. We're not asking for donations. It's quite unique to hear from a Muslim-based organization that's non-for-profit, that is not asking for your donations. It's asking for your money, but that money is money you can take out any day. So this is what we're really focused upon here. This is why, inshallah, we're looking to establish the first Islamic banking financial institution in America. We're here to change the banking model for the Muslim community beyond in this realm. And inshallah, hopefully, we hope to expand and grow this model into other communities as well. Right now, we recognize that people maybe outside ISCJ and NBIC will love to see this in their communities. Inshallah, over time, we're hoping to either replicate this or even extend our own current credit union out to those institutions. So, and alhamdulillah, of course, we're looking to make this an ethical and fair enterprise. Inshallah, you may be asking now, what the next steps? How do I join? Well, we are starting to already take some early the deposits for some people in the community. And inshallah, we hope to open up to the general body right after our official opening ceremony on September 12th, about a month, literally a month from now, inshallah. There'll be a grand opening ceremony at ISCJ, inshallah, in the probably around noontime. More details to come on that, inshallah. We hope you all will be able to come out and attend that session to meet us and to celebrate this really momentous occasion. In the meantime, contact the Maun Credit Union. Go to the website. You can request, open documents, and so we'll be reaching out to you, inshallah. So next steps, please beware of the September 12th opening at ISCJ. To learn more about it, ask questions now. Go on the website. Spread this to your friends. This webinar will be on YouTube, and we posted, inshallah, at least on the Maun Credit Union site with a link. And we also try to see if we can also establish links at the ISCJ and NBIC websites as well. So you can right now be a great ambassador and be a supporter of this project by just simply spreading the word to your friends and family. Jazakallah khair. Now I guess time opening for questions. Right, Arif? So please go ahead and start asking away.
No worries. Again, assalamu alaikum, everyone. ISCJ and NBIC communities. Nadeem and Irfan, you did a wonderful job over the past 15-20 minutes and really outlining very clearly what we're trying to do, what the credit union is, how it can benefit the community. Right now, for those that are watching and following along, please ask some questions. I do see a question that's coming from Noman, and Noman has asked the question is, once Maun starts to offer fee-based loans, will we look to offer fee-free banking to compete with other banks that offer such free banking, assuming a certain level of deposit, for example, north of $50,000 deposit? Irfan, do you want to tackle that one right now?
Sure. Thank you, Brother Nouman, for your question. Yeah, the answer is yes. The goal is to reduce the fees as much as possible. And if the fees that we charge for people to open accounts can be eliminated, we'll certainly strive to do that.
Let me add to that. What really helps is having more members. The more of us that join this credit union, the cheaper the fees to operate this enterprise is. And inshallah, the operations will be a fairly, there are some mostly fixed costs and variable costs to the expenses, but just simply having a greater number of people will reduce each per capita, I would say, financing charge to run the operation, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you for the responses, Nadeem and Irfan. I think that answered the question that came from the the brother from the community. Next question is the maintenance fee. I think we did cover it, but again, if you want to elaborate a little bit further, Irfan, I know you covered it on one of the slides, is the maintenance $5 per month.
Correct. Yeah. So RF, the fee will be, we're setting at $5 a month to start. And again, that's the fee that we need to charge to help generate some revenue to provide the services that the credit union will be providing. But as we just told Brother Noman and the others, we're hoping, inshallah, that as we grow and as more individuals deposit their money into the credit union and more accounts are open, that we hope that those fees can decrease in the near future.
Great. Thank you, Irfan. Are the services of the credit union only available to members of the Muslim community?
So currently, in order to use the services of the credit union, you have to be a member of the Islamic Society of Central Jersey or the New Brunswick Islamic Center. So you have to meet their membership criteria.
Yeah, thanks, Irfan. So for those that are watching, if you're not a member of NBIC and ISCJ, please visit our website, or even if you visit the Maun website, you will see the membership forms for either NBIC or ISCJ. There's multiple levels of membership, whether you're single or a family member or student or senior options, I believe. So take a look, and what works best for you, inshallah, you'll find something that will work for you. Again, let me just add a couple statements here, Irfan. Feel free to amplify or correct me right here, right? We are in the beginning stages. Yes, this journey started 4 years ago, alhamdulillah. And, there was several different milestones and checkpoints that we had to go through where we're now not at the finish line, but just the next milestone. And the next milestone being in the next few weeks, where we're going to have the grand opening and accept deposits. But as Irfan said, we're starting slow, right? We're not in a position to offer every single banking option that you see in a traditional bank. And, that is by design. We want to be very conscientious. We want to be deliberate in how we execute and roll this initiative out. We want to succeed not only in the short term, but the long term. Mm-hmm. So, inshallah, we will look at adding other ways to do other members of the community. But right now, in order to get the approval from the Fed, and Irfan, I'll just ask this one question here because it's come here. Why is this credit union limited to ISCJ and NBIC? Why? I'm assuming they left out the word "not," but why not other masjids in the area?
Yeah, that's an important question, and one that is asked very frequently. And it's simply the way a federal credit union is designed. A credit union, by definition, has a sponsor organization or sponsor organizations. And in our case, it's the Islamic Society of Central Jersey or the New Brunswick Islamic Center. And therefore, in order to use the services of the credit union, you have to be a part of those two organizations. We hope in the future, as Brother Arf was just relaying, to expand our services and to be able to fold other communities under our umbrella as well, so that we can serve more people. But until then, their membership's restricted to these two institutions. But one thing I should emphasize is that you don't necessarily have to have a membership per se in one of these institutions. You just need someone in your family to do that as well. It could be a spouse, it could be a son or daughter, it could be a brother or sister, or a grandparent. All those individuals would still be able to participate as long as one individual had a membership.
Yeah, let me add that, it was my father who actually asked that question. Thank you, Dad. And, so by virtue of my connection, my parents are eligible for the credit union right now as we speak. So I think that's a perfect example of where this, through families, it extends out to people who are not necessarily part of the community directly.
Yeah, no, thank you, Nadim and Irfan. And I think let's go back and just maybe even further elaborate, Irfan. I think it's important on this topic, right? Is by definition of the credit union, right? Whether it's Maun Credit Union or XYZ Credit Union, right? There's a membership origination from it, right? It's just not open to anybody. You have to be part of something if you're trying to join any credit union. Is that correct?
Correct. Like, for example, there may be a credit union for the Patent and Trade Office, PTO. And so if you are an employee of the PTO office, then you can participate in the the PTO credit union. And so here too, the Maun Federal Credit Union is linked to the ISCJ and to the NBIC communities.
Yeah. So that's a great point example that you gave. I'll give another example, right? Like I work at Bristol Myers Squibb, and Bristol Myers Squibb has a credit union, but anybody just can't come use the credit union at Bristol Myers Squibb. You have to be a BMS employee or a BMS contractor or consultant in order to be eligible to use the credit union. So I hope that makes sense to the community. Be patient with us. Again, we're at the ground floor. This is organic. We want to grow it, and we want to grow it again with purpose, ethically, and correctly. And we will expand, but we just need. This is how we needed to start to get the ball rolling, though.
Right. And just one point of clarification, Arif, is that even if you're not someone who frequents the ICJ regularly or the NBIC, you can still become a member of one of those institutions, which will then allow you to use the services of the Federal Credit Union.
Right. And let me add that this it also benefits the Masada communities by, inshallah, hopefully increasing membership at those institutions and membership fees, so that helps support their operations. So alhamdulillah, your money is being put to good use, not just for the credit union, but for the sponsoring institutions as well, inshallah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, keep in mind, we're trying to support our communities, right? And this is an important way to do that. And a lot of times a valid question has come over the years. Well, what does my membership give me? Well, this is something very, very tangible now, right? Membership clearly has privileges. And hopefully, inshallah, there's barakah in this, and just work with the community, and inshallah, even more things will come out of this, inshallah. All right, so I want to transition to some more other questions. There's a question: is there an app for ease of use?
So currently, there's no app for the use, and again, because we are a not-for-profit entity and we're fee-based, and we're trying to reduce the overall cost of lending, we're limiting some of the services. So there is an online portal that you'll be able to access. It's adapted to your mobile device, so you can pull up the internet and pull up the site through your cell phone. But again, there's no particular app per se. That's something we're considering and something that may be added in the future, but we don't have that up and running as of now.
Yeah, thank you, Irfan. And just to supplement what Irfan said is, right, we're trying to keep our costs very low. All these services, if we start offering it, our expenses will go up, and we might not be able, then our maintenance fee might go up or other things, right? We don't want to do that. We want to make this affordable and practical and beneficial for the entire community. And so you might not see those. Now, in the future, as membership grows and we're able to do more things, you can see rollout of certain other services, such as an app. There's a question about loans, and I'm not sure we're ready to answer that, but Irfan, I'm going to pose it to you here. As the question has come in, is will the cost of a 10K loan from the Maun Credit Union be less than a traditional bank over the term of a loan?
Yeah, absolutely. Inshallah. I mean, that's the intent here. And as I kind of shared a story in my introductory remarks, a lot of models that I came across from supposedly presented Islamic financing models, to me, they were really playing word games. And I'll be very honest, when you go back and look at what the contract is and what you end up paying, you oftentimes are paying the same amount that you would in a conventional loan, the same interest amount. In some of these Islamic financing loans, you're actually paying more or higher fees than the interest that you would have paid in a conventional loan. So the intent here is, again, that it's interest free. And we're also hoping to reduce the overall cost of and burden of borrowing money. So we're not pegging this to any interest rate. It's not going to fluctuate as interest rates change or other financial benchmarks change. The fees may fluctuate based on the expenses of the credit union and the revenue sources that we're getting. But our hope, intention, inshallah, is that the fees would be significantly less. And to give you some perspective, right now we have the fees set that if you were to say, spread this fee out over the course of the loan, if you were to translate it to say, if this was an interest percent, what would it equal? The fees that we have set preliminarily are about 0.5% to 0.75% currently. Now, again, that may change, but that's roughly what we're charging right now. And I'm just giving you that as an example, as a point of comparison. But again, we're not basing that fee off the interest rate. So if the interest rate, for example, goes up, we're not going to make it, increase that accordingly. These are fees that we're set and we defined just to help, support and finance the institution itself.
Correct. Thank you, Irfan. And just maybe to add on to that, right? Just an added thought here. And you did cover it earlier in the slides. For the community that's watching and listening to us now live, or if you're going to view it overnight or tomorrow, a week from now, is the loan part. We're not ready to offer it on day one, right? That will be 6 months from now or a year from now. There's some criteria that we need to hit or meet, right, Irfan, before we're ready to issue.
Yeah, we're hoping, inshallah, if everything lines up right for January 1st, 2022. We're eager to get that service out to everyone, but again, as Arif and Nadeem had mentioned, we're trying to open up deliberately. We're aiming and focused on the big picture, so we don't want to take any shortcuts. So if we're ready, inshallah, we'll do it then. If not, we'll delay the rollout until we feel comfortable and confident that we can provide a good quality service to the community.
Okay. I think we answered this question. Will we be offering this service in other states? Well, right now it's limited again to ISCJ and NBIC, but maybe Irfan, do you want to talk about is that people have heard about this initiative and how far we've gotten? And I think there is interest from people across the country in learning from us and maybe doing something with us or co-opting something for their region or their areas. Irfan, if you want to talk about that.
Right. So absolutely. So the first to answer your question, that if you are across state boundaries, you can still participate in the credit union as long as you are a member of the Islamic Society of Central Jersey or the NBIC. And as Arif and Nadeem kind of relayed to you earlier, becoming a member, yes, it is an additional fee. However, you're also supporting a Muslim institution, and it's allowing you to support our institution and participate in the services that we're offering. This credit union, alhamdulillah, has really received tremendous interest across the country. Even before this went live, I've had dozens of conversations with masjids and organizations across the country. As a matter of fact, just Tuesday, 2 days ago, I was talking to a Islamic center and a masjid in Maryland, and they too are eager to bring this to their communities. So we're really excited because this credit union is essentially a proof of concept. Again, it's an entirely novel model. Nothing like this has been done before, and we really want this to succeed. And we really need the community's support, because if this model succeeds, if we can get this off the ground, if we can make this sustainable, inshallah, this model can be followed for Muslims and non-Muslims all across the country. But it starts here, and it starts at ISCJ, it starts at NBIC, and it starts September 12th, and it starts with you. So you need to participate, you need to get involved to really help launch this credit union.
So one of the ways to get involved is opening an account, which you mentioned, Irfan. And I see a question here. Is there going to be a minimum requirement to open an account?
Yeah, it's a great question. Right now, the minimum requirement is set at $500. That may fluctuate or change. If someone does not have $500, but they're interested in opening an account, to be very honest, we'll talk to them and work with them. But right now, the minimum bar is set at $500.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. There's a question here. How much of the deposits will be loaded? What percentage? I'm not sure I know what that means, but Irfan, maybe you can interpret that.
Yeah, could they explain that?
All right. So Salma, I see your question posted at 9:06 p.m. Maybe you can repost it with a little bit more detail so we can answer that accurately. We don't want to leave any questions unanswered. Will there be a 1-800 number?
Yes, we do have a 1-800 number already right now, I think, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
And we do intend to at least, make this at least enterprise and the operations where the communication with the community really available at times when the community is there, particularly on Jummah and on weekends. So, we are intent upon making sure that we are accessible on the weekends in those particular times, like at Sunday school, Saturday school, ICJ, Jummah services, both NBIC and ICJ. So inshallah, we hope to be seeing you all there on a regular basis coming forward.
Yeah,
Yes,
so sorry, Arif, let me just add, specifically the phone number is 1-866-MAUN FCU. So that's 1-866-MAUN FCU. And that's one way to get in touch with us. Of course, we have our email account. And I think what Nadeem just mentioned, I just want to emphasize here is that although we are a not-for-profit entity, it's run by volunteers, we're really trying to make this accessible and convenient to all of its members. Mm-hmm. So we have an online platform so people can view their accounts and perform daily transactions online just from the comfort of their own home or from their mobile phone. And as Nadeem mentioned as well, we want to bring, although we have an office in Kendall Park, we want to bring the credit union to you. So inshallah, we're planning to have regular sessions and opportunities where representatives from the credit union will visit the NBIC, the ISCJ during events such as Jummah, other events or functions, so that it will make this more convenient for you to access Maun, to communicate with us, and to use our services.
Thank you, Nadeem and Irfan, for that information. We have a question. Will there be business loan available? How are they structured, interest-free?
Yeah, that's a complicated question. Business loans, as you implied from your question, are a little bit more complicated. And that's something that we are not considering at this moment. Our first priority is to offer loans for personal loans, for existing debt, for education and auto loans, and then we'll inshallah transition to offering loans for home mortgages. And who knows, inshallah, if we build some confidence and maybe in a couple of years, then I would like the credit union to start offering the services to support businesses. But again, as your question implies, that's a little bit more complicated, and we need to really develop a good solid model that Islamically would allow us to do that.
Okay. I'm reading through the questions. Do we allow for international transfers?
No. At present, we are, and this is actually a restriction imposed upon us by the National Credit Union Association. And that restriction that they would pose on any new federal credit union. So I believe it's for about a year or two that we're not allowed to perform transactions for internationally. But inshallah, after that, we will potentially consider adding that service.
Yeah, let me also add and emphasize the point here that the idea of trust. We're under pretty tight regulations from the Federal National Credit Union Administration that oversees all federally chartered operations, because ultimately they are entrusting and really now certifying, guaranteeing the deposits of citizens' money. So we are, we are under heavy regular monitoring by the federal government authority to making sure that your money is kept safe and secured and used wisely. It's something that we're not used to having at other Muslim not-for-profits, where you're constantly monitored by someone else, like Big Brother in a sense. But alhamdulillah, it's all for your protection and benefit.
Right. Yeah, there is a long list of regulatory and compliance requirements that we have to meet as a credit union, and we're doing again, that's the reason why we have a team with a diverse background, and we're trying to make sure that we hit all those check boxes from that there's required by us that we need to submit. Again, some things we have to submit every 2 weeks, every month, and we want to be cognizant and compliant with all those issues, requirements. There's a question here about, will the deposits be invested in different areas? So maybe, Irfan, you can explain to us how the deposit works and maybe walk us through that life cycle of a deposit.
Yeah, no, that's a great question and a very important question. So the short and quick answer is that, inshallah, our plan is that the deposits won't be invested. The priority that we have and the priority that we decide as a board is really to ensure that the money that's deposited is protected. So we're going to take all steps necessary to ensure that, first and foremost, the depositor's money is insured and protected. We hope, though, and we have a model for doing so, where we don't need to invest the money. Because for us, that's another element, frankly, of riba that we at the Maun Federal Credit Union want to avoid as well. So we don't want to charge people interest. We also don't want to gain money or revenue and interest for our institution. So at present, the money will be held in what's called a Catalyst. It's the Catalyst Corporate Credit Union. It's like a bank of a bank. And the money is going to be held in an account where it's not going to be invested. It's not going to be used to generate any other revenue per se that's from interest-bearing sources.
Thank you, Irfan, for explaining that. Again, I know sometimes in the interest of time, we're compressing the explanation, but I think that was a good explanation. I'm just reading some of the other comments and questions here. Is when a question from Sister Saba is, and we did answer this, so I'll just answer this for Irfan and Nadeem, is when can we start applying for loans? We did cover this earlier. Not on day one. If everything goes right, maybe January 1st, 2022. We want to get everything in order, and then once we're able to offer this service, we definitely will. We don't want to extend it unnecessarily, but as soon as we can, we will offer it. And right now, we're trying to see early part of 2022, inshallah.
Arif, may I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
Another thing I wanted to add to that, to the last answer I gave, about the idea of not investing the deposits into interest-bearing accounts. And I think it's important for people to recognize that this is one other aspect of how we are trying to adhere to faith-based principles. Our commitment to this goes beyond simply just providing interest-free loans. And at every aspect, every transaction, every process, we're questioning ourselves and interjecting our faith and our beliefs to figure out what do we think is the best option to move forward with. And this is one of the reasons why we have to charge a small fee. And so we believe that charging the small fee is a small compromise or a small price that we as a community are willing to pay so that we can avoid having to use these riba sources of income, and so that we can provide these services to the community. So thank you, Arif. Didn't mean to.
No. Absolutely. Here, and then I see a comment from Sister Mahin Khan. Thank you. You don't have to mention my name, or you trust it because I'm part of it, Sister Mahin. And I do have to clarify, because Irfan always points this out to me. Let's not call this a bank. This is a credit union. So there's a difference here. So just keep that in mind. We have another question about auto loans. Does that include refinancing auto loans?
It could. I mean, once we have a loan team, they're currently developing protocols and procedures, and each application would be taken on an individual basis. But refinancing auto loans is one of the services that we, inshallah, will hope to provide from day one, once we start offering loans.
Thanks, Irfan. So we're coming up on the hour here, and we're willing to stay if there's more questions from the community that are watching us right now. But while we're waiting for any questions, last-minute questions to come in, Irfan and Nadeem, do you have any thoughts that you want to share with the community right now before we end the program tonight?
Nadeem, go ahead.
No, I think we have a few more questions, Arif. Let's just go back to those. I think Saman, brother Salma keeps asking wonderful questions. So about investments now, I think, right?
Yeah, she's been asking questions. Well, one thing I do want to say is to everyone here is please visit our website, maunfcu.org. That has a lot more information there. You'll get the backgrounds of not only the board members, but our mission, our vision, and then also a series of FAQs. We covered a lot of questions that were answered, alhamdulillah, but there might be other questions that you might have not thought about asking, and we're trying to make a comprehensive list of FAQs, which are already out there, but we'll always continue to update it. We'll probably, our Maun team will review today's session, and we'll go through the questions, and we'll repopulate and update even our existing FAQs that we have up on the website. But I would encourage everyone to go visit maunfcu.org when you can, and you'll see a lot more information there, and we'll constantly update that information too. A few more questions have come in. How will the credit union be sustainable if the deposits are not invested? Is it only through fees?
Correct. This is a fee-based model. And so those three sources of fees from members who deposit and open accounts for deposits will be paying fees. There'll be fees for those individuals taking out a loan and other general banking charges and fees that may arise. And those are essentially the three categories and sources of revenue.
Yeah. And Irfan, I know you covered this, but I think it bears repeating again because people are joining maybe a little bit late. The types of loans in the beginning that we're looking at. And when I say the beginning, again, it's not on day one when we open, but inshallah, very soon in early part of 2022, we're talking about college loans, auto loans, student loans, that type of stuff, credit card debt, those type of things, right?
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah, that's it. To help people get out of existing debt, auto loans, and loans for education. Those are going to be our three areas of priority to start.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me see. Are there any restrictions in withdrawing the whole amount from your account?
No. Currently, there are no restrictions from withdrawing the whole amount from the account. And just to clarify that, though, at any point you can withdraw the amount. However, there's a minimum reserve that's kind of required to maintain the account. So if you want to close the account or withdraw the money, you can do so. Otherwise, a minimum will kind of be required to be maintained in that account.
We have a question. Do you offer debit card with checking account?
Yeah, so not yet. That's something we'd love to add, and that's something that we're looking forward to adding. And but currently, we're not offering that for a couple of reasons. One, it's just on the back end. To be very frank, it's a little bit more complicated to process. And two, there's just additional costs. Anytime you have a debit card transaction, anytime you write a check and process the check, there's costs on the back end. And so we're first going to start by offering essentially what I said was called a savings account. Again, it's not going to be an interest-bearing account, but think of it more as an account where you can, there's money that you're going to be leaving in there for a little while that you don't need for daily transactions. That's kind of the ideal purpose of the initial account.
Yeah, I mean, we'd recognize that like this is not going to be like your regular banking services. And I know some of us wish that we could move all of our funds over from a regular bank to the credit union and use it as a regular daily bank. We would love to do that. And inshallah, we hope and we ask for your du'as and support so that we can get to that level down the road. But right now, it's just not, we are focusing upon making sure that we can make what I call a minimal viable product and services that can get this noble and really innovative and unique project going for the benefit of the community. Ultimate goal really is to allow us to finance the needs of our community members, as Arif said, particularly in the areas of where we're stuck right now, only getting Riba-based loans, cars, autos, student loans, credit card debt. These are some of the highest, usury type fees. And, it's, I think, almost fard kifaya for us to try to find a way to help people in our community who are stuck paying these ridiculous interest rates on their credit cards. So, we want to first get them out of that situation and find out. And this is I think the simplest means, the least costly means we think is to get people to that, to help support the community. Over time, inshallah, once hopefully we have a broad support and more, cash coming in to support the operations, we can expand out, to more checking-like services down the road, inshallah.
Right. And just to add to that, what Nadeem said, the key is really participation and involvement for the community. The more people that use the credit union and its services will give the credit union an opportunity to add more services and to grow.
Yeah, we need 100% participation from everyone here that's already existing members of ISCJ and NBIC and the others, and we need new members to join and to make this successful, again, for the short term and the long term. The more people that participate, the sooner we can start offering all these other services that you expect from your traditional, place where you do your transactions. So, alhamdulillah,
be a part of this unique enterprise. It's really, as the last question came out, this is a first of its kind in America. I mean, at least in terms of a federally chartered, there is one other chartered credit union based out of Houston. It is for a Shia community, alhamdulillah, and they've been great mentors and supporters of us in getting us to the state we're at right now. But they're more limited in the fact they're state-based chartered in Texas. We have, inshallah, Dr. Fan's vision has broader ambitions to support not just our communities, but Muslim communities throughout America. And you can be a part of this great noble journey, the first of its kind in America, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Nadeem and Irfan, I know we thanked our team, but I do want to take a moment just to thank them again by name, because they've invested a lot of time and energy over the past 4 years, not just the past 4 months, but the past 4 years in different roles and different capacities. But in addition to you, Irfan, in addition to you, Nadeem, I want to mention SN Janjua, SN Salim, Sister Gulnaz, Irfan, I mentioned Muhammad Fayaz Saliani, Muhammad Shiliwala Shamel, Malik, and Brother Tariq. There's probably other people I'm forgetting, but please forgive me. That's my shortcoming. But really, I'm asking the community, please make dua for these individuals and their families who are sacrificing so much to bring this service to the community. And we hope that, again, as Nadeem and Irfan continue to reiterate, we need everyone to participate. More to come on how to open accounts. We're going to do a grand opening, as we mentioned, at ISCJ coming up very soon and after Labor Day. And it's a very special occasion. It's a historic milestone. We're going to have a special guests to participate in that and to really mark this occasion. We should not undersell this. This is a legitimate big deal. As mentioned multiple times, this is the first federally sponsored Muslim credit union in the country, alhamdulillah. With that being said, we're past the hour mark. I think we've covered a lot of the questions here. Nadeem, I do want to hand it off to you if you want to make a closing remark, you and Irfan, and you close the session with the dua. That would be great.
Jazakallah khair, Arif. Let me also extend out a big appreciation, Jazakallah khair, to the boards of ISCJ and NBIC. This venture started 4.5 years ago when I brought Dr. Fan and nobody to NBIC board, and we got their approval. And that actually started the process of getting the application into the National Credit Union Administration for approval. But it was quite obvious early on that we were not going to be able to succeed in getting the approval without the ISCJ board and their full support. So alhamdulillah, Arif, you were on the board at that time. So we want to give a really thanks, appreciation to both the past boards of NBIC and ISCJ over the years and the current boards of ISCJ and NBIC right now. This is, ultimately it's enterprise that many people contributed to at many levels, and inshallah people will contribute to, and Allah hopefully will give barakah and hasana to all of those who have supported this noble endeavor. With that, I will close. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika wa nashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa nastaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Jazakallah khair, everybody. Inshallah, keep an eye out. Go to the website, and we all look forward to seeing you on September 12th, Sunday at 12 p.m. at ICJ grounds for the grand opening ceremony. See you then. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Nadeem. Thank you, Irfan. Assalamu alaikum.